Yo, yo, yo. It's Fat Cat Silver Star General checking in. Fat Cat turned that air on. It's getting a little muggy this morning here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But check this out. I told y'all this piggybacking on the DNA shit with these racist motherfuckers and this race of people that went around the world, killing, stealing, destroying, raping, and pillaging villages and all that to establish their rule. So they come from the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, that's why their pigment is gone. That's why they don't have no melatonin, the cave dwellers. Now, we know there is a such thing as bestiality, right? That's what so-called human beings having sex with animals. Dogs, they got porno today where people still having sex with dogs, horses, goats and shit like that, but it looked like the same kind that went around the world raping and pillaging and killing us and taking people's shit to establish dominance over it. So now, here's a little history lesson. When I was younger, I used to go to the library like I told y'all, so I read up on werewolf movies, vampire movies, Long Chaney and all them. Then of course you got the what was that? The evolution with the lichens and all. I don't know if it was the evolution one or with the lichens and all that. Victor, y'all know Victor as the vampire. But anyway, they tried to create a hybrid species with the lichen, the werewolves, and the vampires. Now, Long Chaney and all them vampire movies and all that, Hollywood pumps out so many werewolf and vampire movies, right? Now we know the vampire, both of these, is a such thing as lycanthropy. That's where a human body covered in hair, right? Basically 100%, because the only thing that's not covered in the hair is the eyes, the palms of the hands, and the bottom of the feet, like an ape or a chimpanzee. So we all know melanated people are not born hairy people. We know that their kind also is pictures of a history of them born with tails, like a pig. So we know in Greco-Roman times, you got the Minotaur, the half horse man with the half, human species, upper body. So these are not just mythical things. Nothing new is under the sun. Genetic splicing, the island of Dr. Moreau. He's doing animal-human hybrid experiments. You got that shit still going on private islands now and underground. So they talk about Bigfoot. What is Bigfoot? Bigfoot is just a tall motherfucking nigga covered in hair, right? That's why I got a human type of footprint. They show you in your face. Vampires, right? And there's been instances where people bit people. Like mine say, anything with teeth will bite. So another thing, I seen documentaries about voodoo and all this, and these energy vampires, where when the vampire, they touch somebody, right? When you touch is the energy transfer. One person's energy was blue, and the other vampire energy was red, right? They hang out in covens, they groups, they hang out in their little hangout spots. They share blood, they drink blood. What do these hunters of their kind do when they go deer hunting? What do? They take their kids with them and what do they do once they kill the deer? They drink the blood. How do they like their steaks? Raw, bloody. How do they like their hamburgers? Bloody. With the red juice run out. It's parasites in those juices. It's bad nothing but bad things. Milk, the cow's milk, it's got enzymes in it. Enzymes is parasites. It's not for human consumption. They used to have, labels that say not for human consumption. So how far-fetched is it that they fucking wolves in the caves male and female fucking wolves, and a female human have a baby covered in all hair. Sperm is sperm. The female is the host that in the vessel that bring all life into earth through her vagina. She got eggs and ovaries. So if a dog nut get into a woman's eggs, it's gonna create another baby. It's gonna create a child. Now what that child look like, we don't know. But remember, they kind get a hell of a lot of abortions for some reason. And they kind love dogs. That's man's best friend. But the Bible also say man is beast. Bestiality, that's on the books, is laws against having sex with animals. So why do these people still do it? It's in their DNA. Like I say, some of them have pig faces. Horse look at banana, they call it a banana face. In America, where do they come from? The British colonies, right? Truth be told stuff. Now, there's a sheriff guy, retired sheriff guy, he got this series called Missing 411. This is where, in America, you got all these nature preserves, all these mountainous range areas is covered by the parks and recreation center, right? Caves, right? Satanic people say they kidnap people and hold them in the caves, right? They got medical people in there to keep them alive to these certain days on this satanic calendar that they got to be sacrificed. Because like I say, certain days they got to kill a child, a male, certain days they got to kill a female. They look for good people. Why do the good die young? They stalked by these bad people. Now, we know it's a tribe in Africa where everybody's 7 feet tall. What do they say about the Bigfoot? It's about 8 feet tall. Shaq's feet 22 inches. They made casts of these feet. They 18 to 20 some inches. You dig? But they wider because the species, you know, whatever species that is, they have a lot of weight on them. You know, you got 400, 500 pound, 600 pound humans right now. That's the size of a bear, a teenage bear. What is American Werewolf in London? Then your boy Michael J. Fox, the teenage werewolf. Why are they so connected to this? Blood and guts. That people get ripped apart. Or is they really chopped up? Or is they ripped apart from a beast? But back to the missing 411, in these parks and recreational areas, they always got a place where you could count, right? So why a lot of people come up missing, going camping close or near these recreational parks and they nature preserves, they say it's nature preserves, but it's for their nature. The Creek Indians, right? Creek Indians fought giants in their history and drove the giants into where? The caves. Well, where were Creek Indians at? Where were they located at? In America. So, in prison niggas know they got giants in that motherfucker. So did they really create prisons to house us or to house the giants underground? They got guard towers, so they can't run away. Blood, they always want your blood, right? Like I said, if you niggas wasn't worth nothing, why they want your blood? Your Nubian blood. Stop donating your Nubian blood. They always holding what? A blood drive. Everywhere. And they give you some what? Milk and cookies. in my Bernie Mac voice. What do these child rapers offer the kids? Some candy or some what? Milk and cookies? All the presidents know this shit. Current, former, and crossed over dead ones. But there's never an investigation into these missing people. But guess what you can find in them preserves when kids go missing? If it look like they kind, they don't touch them. They be found days later. That's what he discovered in the Mission 411. If it's they kind, because they know their DNA. Kendrick Lamar, DNA, contaminated. The Holy Bible say, I know it was the blood. I know it was the blood. So we have to cleanse our blood. What do they need? Blood transfusions. They starving right now. Because motherfuckers ain't donating blood. You can see it in their face. Looking all drained and sunken. Looking like they worried about something. That's the energy a lot of them hold. Don't be fooled. Satan got to play in your face. Don't that Baphomet thing they worship got hair on it? Is a goat? What do goats have? Hair on it, right? Don't they fuck goats? Always on the goat shit. He's the goat. He's the goat. Niggas know this shit. They take that oath for fame. They get introduced into that shit. Doing unnatural acts. That's why AIDS was created. HIV was created. So when y'all race mix with them, and what do they do when they get wet? They smell like a dog. They got different chemical pH balance than us. It's all biology and Scientology and scientific shit. Like I say, in '96, I went to the Scientology. I was reading water meters for the city of Atlanta, but I went downtown and read the Scientology water meter as a commercial meter, because they had a Scientology little spot downtown Atlanta. And when I went in, they had that sign outside on the sidewalk to say free IQ and personality test. So I told the guy, because he invited me in, and and I was like, well, I'm working, I come after I get off work. So I did, because I was working on Ponce de Leon Avenue, across from Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles. And they had the police station in the building downstairs, and Lee Haney got his gym down there as well. We was upstairs. The water department was upstairs. The black lady, a black lady was the head of the department. That's where Herman was. I always remember I told y'all, Herman asked, Tompkins, what's your 20? What's your 20? Jocking me and shit, trying to sweat me. But so I went to the Scientology place, and it was, like I said, it was a British dude, because I could tell by his accent and all that, and I had been to Britain before in 1990. And like I say, he was dressed to the vines. His whole fit was at least $1,000, And he had this big cherry wood desk. His desk probably was about like a pool table, about 6 to 8 feet long. And I'm like, damn, this is expensive. I know he paid about 10 bands for that desk. But that's L. Ron Hubbard people. But he was saying that, the stars was in there, Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and them type people. He was name dropping. And so before I did the IQ test and personality test, they got like a movie, they got a little movie theater room in there. And I watched, the history of L. Ron Hubbard and all that stuff, and what Scientology is about. So basically, it's supposed to make an intelligent person more intelligent. Now, they got a place, a society called the Mesa Society. That's for people with high IQs. And there's a place called the Thule Society and all that. You got the Council of 13, 13 equal death. So the Council of Death, basically, because they do numerology as well, I'm sure, which is a different thing than this Scientology thing. But the dude tested me. It was two different tests I did, one for the IQ and then one for the personality. So the guy was talking to me cool, at first. So then after I took the test, so he went and took the paperwork somewhere. He probably ran the answer, ran it through a little computer or something, and it just spit out on a graph my IQ level. So when I seen the guy after that, he had this amazed look on his face. And he said, come on, let's go in my office, because he took me to another room to take the test. It would look like a little cubicle room where you test, like in a staffing agency or whatever. And he looked amazed. He had this amazed look, and he never said anything to me when we walked back to his office. And dude sat behind his desk, and he leaned back. But he had this paperwork on his desk, so. And he sat up, and he was pointing, had me look at the paper and was pointing at it. So he had the average level of IQ for the majority, the masses of people is 100. And I remember that movie, The Kid with the 200 IQ. The old heads should remember that. So it was a line drawn across 100. Okay, then it was another line way above the 100. It was at 140. He said, this is the average person's IQ, of 100. He said, your IQ, this is your IQ that I tested out at 96, I want to say. And it was at 140. And he said, at this level of IQ 140, you could run any major corporation in America, like Microsoft, GE, any bank, and all that. I said, well, I know. I know. Because he asked me if I had a business, and I said, no, not right now, but I plan on having a business, And that's when he said that. And then he said 160 is genius level. 160 to 200 is genius level. So I was 20 points below genius level. That was in 96. And I was 24, 25 years old. I could run any corporation, major corporation in America. I remember one staffing agency I went to back then in Atlanta. They tested for business IQ because they had certain staffing agencies for nurses, certain for businesses, certain staffing agencies for just labor. So I went and did the business one. They came back with their chart after they tested me, and my business level went from the bottom of that sheet all the way off the sheet to the top. The one graph that proved my case at the VA, and all veterans supposed to be able to get a copy of their records legally, they won't give me because it proved that I have a mood disorder based on my chronic pain. Because that shit was off the charts too, compared to the other areas that they tested me in. So they won't give me the main ingredient to prove my case so I could get all my money after they denied me my claims. But back to this European British Caucasus Caves. That's why they call it Caucasian. They from the Caucasus Mountains. Everybody know that. Them Hotep niggas know that. Them Dr. York niggas know that. So if you never had a reason to race mix, not to race mix, then there you go. They telling you who they are. That's why they work on a primordial, primitive, primate. They say we come from monkeys, right? We evolved from monkeys, right? What do they use as test subjects? Monkeys. Right? Right? I'm just pointing some shit out. Truth be told shit. Here in America, they shipped them to America from Great Britain or British colonies. Satan got them that way because it already said in the Bible that some of the angels who fell with Satan, when they got casted down to earth with Satan, they fornicated. They had sex with the daughters of men. That's where you come up with the demigod. So they have special abilities too. Angelic type abilities too. They just use it for evil, for bad, not good. Because they get a kick out of laughing at God's, the Most High God's creation. Basically, they got jealous. Satan got jealous. Because the Most High God said, let us make man in our image. Earth was already here when they got cast down. How else could they go into the daughters of men? It wasn't Adam and Eve only. The earth was already populated. And it was populated with who? My people, our kind, not they kind. So they mixed in. That's why that one movie, They're Among Us, you got to have eyes to see. And what eye help us see? Our third eye, our pineal gland. It's scientific. What do they try to do? Affect everything, the brain. So you can't, and keep us busy so you can't settle yourself and meditate and slow down and quiet your body and quiet your mind where you could use your third eye. Edgar Cayce, the seer, that's all he did. He would relax in a meditative state and then he'll get visions. And of course people, hey, tell me the number, because they had numbers back then, they had illegal numbers. Tell me the number, what's gonna be the number? But Edgar Cayce talk about soulless beings. What's a soulless being? Somebody that don't have no sympathy or empathy. That don't give a fuck about shit. That don't have no caring in them, no love in them. People who don't give a shit. Clones, bots. They can't program a clone to love. They could program them to laugh, to smile. They cloned in the 70s, right? They perfected cloning a sheep in the 70s. We're in 2026 now. You think they stopped that work? Why 1 million people come up missing in the United States every year and don't nobody talk about it? Why these scientists coming up dead now? Because they want to talk about it. Whistleblowers. It's the good cops go now. That's why these cops is snitching or telling the real tale. The bad cops is telling, is talking. They don't want to go to jail for crimes against humanity. I told y'all, humanity is coming for y'all. Y'all just a small group compared to the size of global humanity. And y'all confined here to America. Y'all copycats. Y'all copycats because y'all can't think for yourself. A clone can't think for themselves. A clone is programmed to do what they told. That's why they don't know math. That's why they don't know how to read and comprehend. That's why they don't know how to deal with money and budget and manage money. They just know how to spend that shit. So it is werewolves and vampires out here. How many farmers' cows and got attacked? Talking about these wild coyotes and wolves. And wolves. It ain't no wolves in America other than at the zoo. And them little broken down, malnourished motherfuckers ain't compared to the ones out in the jungle and the wild. They spoiled here. Look at the orangutans. Like I say, you cut the orangutans and the zoos loose in the concrete in the jungle now, them motherfuckers will die. They can't hunt for themselves. They can't swing from the goddamn trees, they so weak. The food. Why is all kind of poison okay through the FDA that is not in use around the rest of the world? The food them guys in the villages out in the jungle and the motherfucking tropical areas and the Amazon and all that shit, them little secluded ass tribes, they eat better food. Them wild animals ain't contaminated. Every week they got a recall here. Mad cow disease, some pig disease. They not clean. They unclean spirits inhabit them, and they live unclean because they possess. The Catholic Church, demon possession is real. They make movies, The Conjuring. They like doing spiritual things. The full moon, right? So they dance under the pale. Have you ever danced under the pale moonlight? They transform into them wolves. You look at the old pictures. It ain't human beings dancing around there. Now it's wolves and human beings in some of them pictures. They got shapeshifters out here. That's why I told you guys, watch abroad around the full moon. See if they got to dip out and go somewhere. What the movie center's about. The movie center's what? A wolf, a vampire, an infected rabies type of person of they kind infecting our kind. All the ancient people around, tribes and people around the world all got a story about these type of things. Some wolf man type of creature. So, like I said, if a female have sex with a dog, sperm is sperm. What's the likelihood of her having a baby covered in hair? Anybody in the military know German women covered in hair pretty much. Who spent some time over there, who fucked around with the bras. African people, melanated people, not born with a body full of hair. So in order to get rid of that parasites, you got to cleanse your blood. Dr. Sebi came up with the cure. That's the master cleanser. Because when you drink that sea salt water mix in the morning, it flushes all the bad parasites out your blood. Because the sea salt water mix is the consistency of blood. So anything bad is going to attach to the new blood that you're drinking in your belly. The Holy Bible talks about bras with the belly. Now look at all these big belly, big back bitches that's angry and getting in trouble with the law. and on some violent shit, like they got mad cow disease and stinking because they got chopped up baby parts in them from them abortions as well. They pH balance off and they can't get it back in order unless they do the master cleanser. They're gonna drop weight, they're gonna feel better, they're gonna be less hostile and volatile. Healthy body, healthy mind. And these, how many young females under 30 just totally obese? That's a sin. That's a 7 deadly sin. Obesity. Gluttony. Gluttony is being obese. And motherfuckers always say, make it make sense. I say, make it don't make sense. Make it don't make sense. Make it don't make sense. You dig? Fat Cat 7-star general. Keep it sold up.